Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is Greg Tech New Horizons. So, the name of the game today is automation. First, let me go over the few things I did while I was off camera. Let's go ahead and turn that off. I got the vacuum freezer up and running. I made the Ender IO reservoir. I can go ahead and claim those rewards since there's nothing to pick from there. I made a second advanced electrolyzer. So we'll go with a loot bag. Let's see here. I also went ahead and got all the stuff together for a multi-farm. I'll worry about those here in just a bit. And then let's see here. I also got I also ended up making the item translocator, and I'll show you where I have those. I made an alloy smelter, the wonderful one from Ender IO. I did that so that I could make those the fused quartz that you need to make in order to make the reservoir. I went ahead and made this guy. I'll go ahead and go with a loot bag rather than just a single chassis there. And then I think that's pretty much it as far as stuff that I went and picked up. We do have some loot bags we're going to open here momentarily, but let me show you what I have going on. So if we look up here, there is now this contraption that goes all the way up, and that contraption leads up to a multi-farm. And if I pull up my journey map, you can see this is when you have a multi-farm with the uranium tubes, you can make the farm this big. It's essentially, 5 water things across and then 5 water things high with diagonals between the corner waters. That is basically the max size you can get a farm running on one multi-farm. It's different in this pack than other packs. Most packs, it's like this width is 12 across, so it ends like if you put it on the corner of a set of squares, it ends right on the edge of the chunk borders, and then it goes diagonal. It's only like 5 wide and then diagonals and then 5 high and then diagonals and then 5 across again. And so it's fairly small, but because you're using the uranium tubes, it extends out by like an extra 5 squares in multiple directions, and it turns out that this is the max size. If it's not, I might have some plants that just never get harvested, but that's there. Underneath it, so I have 4 gearboxes, and then the grayish box right there is a ULV transformer. So I can take 1 amp of LV, get it into 4 amps of ULV, and then it passes it to that. And then right there on the side of it is the Ender IO reservoir. And then I've got a pair of hatches that pretty soon I'm going to have to find a way to pipe all the way down and do something to get it into storage. So that is on my list of stuff to do as far as the farm automation goes. And then if I come over here, oops, it's not over here anymore. I moved the elevator out from back there because I put my automation down here. Right here, I have the advanced electrolyzer. It's been hammered to turn off right now, but it will take this one empty cell and it will make oxygen and hydrogen. It does the hydrogen in the capsule so that it can pass it back and forth and just dump out the oxygen. And I did that because then I can come over here with the compressor. The compressor can give the compressed air cans, and then that's an oxygen cell that it can then pass into here, and that can pass back, and then it can automatically output nitrogen up into the top. So it's basically, just a simple little setup using these nice item translocators over here. And then last thing I have is my automated silicon solar grade setup. I think it's only got like 10. Let's see here. 3 times 2 is 6. It's got 12. So it's got 12 salt that runs through and takes in raw silicon that I can just manually put in here, and it'll pump it out into this box right here. You can see I've already got 25 there plus whatever's in my storage. So yeah, that is my automation that I had decided to set up on my list of stuff I wanted to automate here, with the basic solar silicon setup, a hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen setup. You can see back there is my vacuum freezer, the pyrolyze oven that does right now. It's set up to do fermented biomass, and then as soon as I can get a distillery up and running, it'll take that and basically cause a cycle to be going there. One of the things I'm looking at needing to do right now, though, is I'm looking at needing to make another turbo gas turbine, slap it onto the side of this super tank of benzene, and have it plug into this blue alloy cable, since the blue alloy cable can take 2 amps of HV. And that way I can run this setup here without affecting stuff like the EBF or the vacuum freezer or the clean room. So that's next up on my list of stuff to make, but my list of things is, slowly going down. I do have that oil rig here. I need to make some more circuits in order to make the advanced circuit assembler, which will help us progress towards the rocket, because we need to make one of these IV level circuits, the mainframe here. So yeah, that is the next set of progression. I originally was going to make nichrome coils. It turns out the nichrome, in order to smelt down the nichrome, I need to have EV, and I don't have a good enough setup. Now that I'm getting nitrogen, this will be a bit easier. I can decrease the cost a little bit, and if I get that second HV power source plugged in, I can recharge batteries faster, and that would go a long way towards being able to then smelt this nichrome and get it installed into the EBF. But I have everything else ready. I've got the dust ready. I've got the sheets, the mica sheets are all done and ready to go. All I need to do is just, get a couple more things built and run that and have it automated and do things that way. I also have been, I need to mark this guy right here as depleted because I put my miner up there. I haven't went and picked it up and pulled it back down yet, but I took out this gold one earlier. I think I showed you guys that. I just picked up this manganese so I can get the tantalum, the tantalite that's in there, and be able to get the tantalum so that I can look at making more SMD circuits. And then I also put it in, I depleted a copper node in the nether in order to get a bunch of copper so that I could replenish my copper stores. And then I also plugged in, I put it in the nickel vein in the Twilight Forest in order to pull that up so that I had the nickel. Now the reason for the nickel is so that I could get, and where did I put it? Oh, I know where I put it. The reason for the nickel was so that I could get mercury in order to get the platinum metallic powder dust. And then there's some of the platinum metallic powder dust that I have, and the rest of it is actually right here. So there is our first 2 ingots of platinum. That does knock out this quest and then leads us to the SMD circuit quest. The big one here is these diodes. 16 basically that 2 platinum ingots plus a pile of gallium arsenide and what is this, 4? Yeah, 4 things of polyethylene gets us an entire stack of diodes. And I certainly like that a lot more than going through this stuff. It is efficient to go through the tantalum and the wafers, or the tantalum and the small piles. It just it uses about the same amount of polyethylene either way. It uses the same amount of gallium arsenide either way, but you can use your tantalum wire for the other pieces of the other SMD components rather than using it on the diodes. It just comes at the cost of, a hefty chunk of platinum. The other thing I can do is I can work on getting enough of this platinum metallic powder dust from from the nickel. I can process it down, and then I can make a chunk of, or a block of platinum, and then I should be able to get the platina leaves. But I don't know what those process down to. So if we get them, we don't have any neodymium ore, we don't have any sheldonite ore, no palladium, no bastnasite, and no crushed platinum. But okay, so if we get started in UU matter, which is one of the other quests for the EV right here, recycle for the environment, wants you to make 4 basic recyclers, and then an amplifier, and then a UU matter producer. If we get UUM starting to be produced, we can then go this autoclave route and take 16 of those platina leaves in order to make another thing of purified platinum ore. And then that just gets processed into the powder dust, and then we go through this process, except now we've got a renewable source of it from leaves. So there is that. We can head that route while we work on the amount of platinum that we might want until we get to actually creating the platinum line itself, which is a big pain, and it's in the EV tier. So yeah, stuff that we can do, looking at things like that. Again, looking at automation. I want to automate the fermented biomass because it gives us a lot of byproducts. I also haven't done it before. I've never distilled in a distillery tower the fermented biomass products. That gets us quite a bit towards either biodiesel or the plastics and things along those lines, and it powers itself with the methane that you get from it. So that's a big one on my list to get up and running, since it will power itself. In addition to then being able to, once it's powering itself, we can use those other products for plastics and whatnot, rather than having to use this single block distillery that I have set up. So that is where things are right now. I have no plants up in my farm yet. I haven't gotten that far yet, but at least if we got biomass set up, we could then look at a PTFE setup. We could look at a synthetic rubber setup. We can look at the styrene butadiene rubber setup. We can also talk about getting into diesel. The only thing with diesel is that you need a distillation tower, and then I want the oil cracker so that I can break down the naphtha and maybe the refinery gas. And then we can take the other stuff and we can reapply it to making diesel as an alternate power source. I use diesel for my miner when I'm off world, or when I'm just out and about and trying to bring up entire chunks of ore. So yeah, a few things going on here. Trying to get a feel for the order of things. Biggest one will be making another stack of plastic circuit boards so that I can get all the way through to the mainframe, and then still have enough circuits left over to where we can maybe get a distillation tower up and get through that process. So I am going to cut away. I'm going to work on some more of these machines. I might set up some of the plants and stuff so that we can start getting the plant materials brought down and in, and have those automated, and that way we can really take a look at having as much as we can automated through free resources. So yeah, I will see you guys back here in a bit once we have a bit more ready for automation. All right, well, I'm still in the process of working on the farm. I now have some item pipes that run all the way down. I'm still missing the power going up there, so it still can't do anything because it can't harvest, it can't give any fertilizer, it can't do the water, it can't do any of that stuff. I did determine that 16 is the correct number of EV circuits that you want to start with if you want to get a healthy foundation. You need 3 for the vacuum freezer, and then you need 2 more for the circuit assembler, And then with those two things done, you need 4 more in order to make the mainframes, the IV tier mainframes. So that puts us at 7, 8, 9 total so far. Then if you take a look, you need 3 more for the multi-purpose arm for the NASA workbench to go start the whole space tab. And that uses 2 of those 2 mainframes that you create using the 4. So with that 3, that makes it 12, and that leaves you with 4 of those 16 left over to make a distillation tower. So 16 seems to be about the right number of EV circuits to start with. That is a lot. That's a lot of resources, but I have all of that stuff. Hopefully if you guys are playing, you're moving your miner around, you're getting lots of resources moved around, because it is definitely a pain. So there is my advanced circuit assembler right down here. It is attached to this blue alloy cable. I'm just waiting on this guy. There we go. We're at 100%. And with 4 things of molten soldering alloy, I can make two whole circuits. I did a little bit of other modifications to the base here. I don't want to step outside while we're running this, just because I don't want the percentage to end up at 98 and just happen to hit that 2%. So I'll pause here. I'll be back when these guys are finished. All right, man, that is a harrowing set of 160 seconds waiting for these guys to craft, hoping that you don't have a breakdown in the clean room. Yeah, but there is our IV circuits. There we go. We even got the quest complete marker right here for this guy. I'll go ahead and take some HV circuits rather than just some regular wafers. If I need wafers, they are pretty cheap. They're 5 of the Technician 10 coins to get a full set of 16, which is pretty nice, I'd say. And I'd rather not do a loot bag, although we do have a ton of loot bags we're going to need to go through. But getting that bit done, we now have the Space Race tab opened up. So now we have our NASA workbench. The only problem with the NASA workbench is going to be this little bit right here. You need 6 nether star plates to be able to make the 3 robot arms, which means that I'm going to have to go get some... I'm going to have to kill some withers, which means I'm going to need wither skulls, which means that's a whole nother side mission set of stuff. I'm going to have to get 9 nether stars and then put it into a block and then cut it up, and then we can finally do this bit. But at least for the time being, we finally have the mainframe circuits done, and now we can really start to have fun. I am going to continue to work on a distillation tower. This thing, I'm doing the one for fermented biomass, so that's going to be an 8 high one, and that it takes a lot of stainless. It's going to take me a while to get all the chrome and then to get it together and then smelt it. But one of the things I decided to do is I decided to make 1 more of these heat-proof casings, and I put down just 1 of the HV things, and then I rerouted power, and I'm using the blue alloy cable, so I have up to 2 amps of HV coming in here in order to help keep this guy going, while I can also still keep the rest of the automation going, because these couple of guys running aren't going to use up an entire HV of power, and those 2 amps, most of those 2 amps can go up and to the EBF, and that means that I can run it basically continuously without having to worry too much about anything as far as that's concerned. So as I get more of the stainless steel dust prepared, I can bring it over here, put some oxygen in here, and just, you know, make as much as I need. But it is going to take some time to get there, with this being, 5 stacks of stainless there, 54, double that, so 108 more stainless there. So yeah, it'll be a little while for me to get this stuff done. I'll do that kind of stuff off camera. I'm going to go see if I can't find either a wither skeleton farm, or if I can I make the... what was it was just talking about? It said to make, crud. Where is it? It said to make maybe a Skullfire sword to try and kill, I think it's just regular skeletons you can kill with a Skullfire sword, and then it burns them and gives you the Wither skeleton skulls. So one of those two things, start working on getting some Nether Star stuff together. When I do that, I will show you. I used the Dark Oak trick and Ender Pearl trick in order to put a hole in the nether roof, and then was able to get down or up and down through it so that we can set up a wither spot up in the top of the nether rather than trying to do it anywhere near our base where stuff might accidentally go boom. So that will be fun to be up there playing around with that and just killing some withers in order to get those nether stars, but at least it'll be mostly safe. So let's go ahead and I'll end this episode out by opening these various bags of loot. I've got I've got one mostly empty box and one empty box here. Let's go ahead and what should we start with? Let's do this IC2 crop bag first. Small sodium battery and an 8-volt solar panel. I'll take it. And a low voltage battery buffer. Okay, yeah, that's off to a good start. Let's go ahead and do the Magic Novice next. Some arrows, so helpful. Oops, and then a weighted pressure plate and some seeds. Okay, next up, sure, Forest Ranger. An electric engine from forestry. A honeyed slice. And some sequoia wood. Sure, next up we'll do some LV stuff. A hopper and some side chests. Some wheat. Minecart hull. Cheeseburger and ladders. More seeds. Golden lasso and some beet burgers. Some string and some pressure plates. Okay, up next we'll go ahead and do these two 100% MV ones. I got 2 potions of strength 2, some electrical motors, and some advanced reinforced duct tape. Those electrical motors will go towards our oil rig. We can go ahead and just make some pumps out of that and use the other half. That'll be great. Rest of the MV ones, a zombie head and a brewing stand. Some energy conduit and some chrome ingots. Nice. Iron bars. Some diodes. Weighted pressure plates and some chocolate frames. A door factory. Never mind. I've got 4 pumps now, so we can do that with the that setup. Another digger's backpack. A machine chassis. 4 good electronic circuits and a muffler upgrade, and several different building blocks. We'll put those over here like that. There we go. And then last we have 27 of the tier 3 bags. And of course the first one off the bat is those stinking saplings. Is that the right one? That's not the right one. This is the right one. There we go. Alright, some SMD capacitors and some glass panes. An oxygen mask. Ah, very nice. I think the last time I got the oxygen hose. Yeah, this guy right here, the oxygen hose. Now I've got an oxygen mask to go with it. That's excellent. Some bowls and some salt. Where do I want to put this guy? Let's put him over here. Yeah, there's our oxygen gear, so there's our oxygen mask to go with it. Fantastic. Shortcut that stuff. Looks like we got pressure plates. It's the only thing I can think of. All right, have to check the replay on that. Oh, maybe it was this 8 stainless steel ingots. Who knows? An oxygen fan and a diamond drilling head. Some more SMD capacitors. Blaze reed seed and some compressed bronze plates. Some more seeds. Oh, and 2 reinforced glass lenses. That's fantastic. That'll take the place of 2 of the lenses for this sensor lens. And a bunch of empty canisters for space. Excellent. Those will be great. Some transistors and some good circuit boards. Some compressed steel plates. A leather helmet and a book of night vision 2. Some RAM and a nuclear control information panel. Very nice. A crop harvester and some redstone torches. Apples and a creeper head. Energy crystal. Oh, an energy crystal. Very nice. Some more torches and some industrial TNT. That gets us a kickstart into the space race stuff. We don't have to make the toluene in order to make gelled toluene to make the industrial TNT. We just have it available, although that is something that I will be automating before long because it's a pain. A diode and a fish. Another sacred oak sapling. Some more seeds and transfer nodes. Some steel poles and some advanced wafers. A zombie head. Some compressed aluminum plates. Some more canisters. Oh boy. A rubber tree and an oxygen mask. And lastly, Aurelia seeds. So that's the gold plant that we can quadruple any crushed gold ore from that plant. So that'll be good. That was one of the ones. I don't know that I had it before. Definitely a good thing to have. I can now breed that up and get us some more. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this episode here. We got ourselves a ton of good loot, some space-based stuff, which is fantastic, and then just some other miscellaneous stuff we can put to good use. So I will see you guys in the next episode, where hopefully we will have either set up or about to set up our first distillation tower, and then showing off a nice wither killing area. So we'll see you in the next episode. Till then.